All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Big Four podcast. Great slate of games that we just watched last Thursday to yesterday, Monday. Um, let's start with Ohio State with a big win over Notre Dame. So reactions from this game.
Good win. Actually, it's a very promising win because I know people have been talking about the offense not looking great, but we know the offense will be there. They figure the offense out. The defense looked very good. They weren't subbing in as many guys, which is positive. And they didn't have to do a lot of plays, but Jim Knowles said it was very basic vanilla defense that they played, but I mean, leaps and bounds beyond what they're doing, and they're in the right position. So if the defense can build on this, Ohio State is very squarely in the national championship conversation.
Yeah, I think it was a great week for the Ohio State defense. I don't think Notre Dame has some overpowering offense. If you hold the top 10 team 10 points, you're doing something well. And the big.
No, but their offense is better than Tulsa's last year that put up 45 points on Ohio State.
Yeah. The big thing is 2.5 yards of carry for Notre Dame. That was a problem last year. Ohio State stopping the run. So good job there. Their offense concerns me, though, because they still have problems on the offensive line. Now, I know by the end of the game, they wore them down a little bit and they were able to run the ball, but they were getting pushed around at the beginning of the game, just like they did against Michigan last year.
We were able to run the ball the whole time. Just Ryan Day refuses to hand it off.
You were getting pushed around. Stroud was getting hurried a little bit at the beginning of the game. Offensive line still really concerns me. Other than that, if Ohio State shores that up, they're right there with Alabama for the best team if they can shore that up. If not, they're going to lose to Michigan. They're screwed.
Yeah, it was a promising win. I'm sure Ohio State fans would much rather the game have gone this way than even winning a shootout 49-42, because at least in this case, I mean, you'd rather your offense struggle than your defense struggle. I mean, first game of the year, you have no preseason.
Well, especially because we know what we're getting now. The offense will be fine.
Yeah. And, I think it was a little overblown, people saying it's going to be, the greatest offense in the history of college football. I mean, that was a little overblown. They still, obviously, they have a ton of talent, but they got a bunch of young receivers they got to get going. And the JSN injury, don't know much about it, but got to get him back. But yeah, Ryan Day kind of went away from the run a little bit too much.
Well, that's because they were getting pushed around.
Now, once he committed to the run, then Ohio State was fine.
They warmed up. They were clearly getting pushed around at the end of the game.
I don't want to hear that.
No, Ryan Day just likes to push the ball downfield too much. When they were playing, basically saying throw it underneath. He should have just dink and dunk down the field.
I think Ohio State's defense was solid. I don't think Notre Dame posed a big threat. I don't think Ohio State really had to worry about the pass at all, because not only does Notre Dame, I don't think their quarterbacks is a threat to pass, but I don't think they have a lot of weapons. I mean, they got Meyer, the tight end, but that's about it. And they really don't have
their quarterback.
Quarterback
started the game well, but then he kind of I don't know if he was trying to do more than what he went on. He started missing throws, and you can tell he was a little nervous.
I don't know. I just don't think he's very good. I think he can run a little bit, but I think Ohio State was keyed in on the run. They did a good job stopping the run. And that kid in the middle of the defensive line, what's his name, Hall or whatever his name.
Yeah,
Hall. That kid flashed off my TV screen as Skip Bayless says. Played a great game. That's someone to look for. I don't know if they got a ton of pressure from the edge guys, but they were able to stop the run up the middle. I think that's a big thing for Ohio State. But again, I don't think Notre Dame's going to pose a big threat to them offensively, but that still is a great performance by the defense, and we'll see if they can improve and see if they can go on. They can continue win the rest of their games. We'll see, but encouraging, no doubt. All right, let's move on to just they should call it the Real Housewives of Ann Arbor. Just the amount of drama coming out of the Michigan program right now. Michigan with an embarrassing win over Colorado State. Really, I mean, their offense was slightly better than Iowa, but not much. So reactions from this really bad win.
Well, I mean, the win doesn't matter as much as the QB situation at the moment. I mean, these first 3 or 4 games that they should win with ease, but everyone's going to be looking at the QBs. And I mean, we basically told everybody what was going to happen. They weren't going to let game manager throw the ball. And McCarthy came in, went 4 for 4, broke off a long run. And now Harbaugh wants McCarthy to be the starter. He just knows he can't give it to him because he needs McNamara to fail first. And this could have been the game. I mean, 39.7 QPR, 9 for 18. This might be his excuse just to run with McCarthy for the rest of the year. Harbaugh is purposely setting up Cade McNamara to fail.
Yeah, good defense looked good. Defensive line looked really good. I'm still a little concerned about the secondary. Although Mike Sanderstill, let me tell you, he topped off the screen. He was good in this game. He looks fast.
Yeah, Colorado State, a team with like 40 new players. I'm sure Michigan.
He looks fast, and he looked really slow on offense last year. So, I mean, it's going to be tough to tell with the defense until they start playing real teams, but promising performance.
So by week 8, maybe we'll see.
Yeah. We won't know before the Ohio State game. Well, you're going to find out about the defense in that game. It's the first real team they play. So, yeah, offense pretty good. In a lot of facets, pretty bad in some other ones. Offensive line was a complete joke in this game. For a team that won the award for best offensive line last year, this was a disgraceful performance. I understand they have some injuries that guys are coming back from the next couple weeks, but they weren't able to run the ball well enough. Corum and Edwards are both under 6 yards a carry against Colorado State. That's unacceptable. McNamara was getting hurried the whole day. But, they fought through 51 points, nothing to scoff at. As for the quarterback situation, I don't really understand what you guys thought Cade was going to do in this game. This is what he did against every bad team last year.
Sorry, that is just a crazy argument. That's a crazy argument.
If you go back and look at the games last year, like Western Michigan, Cade's 5 for 10 with 110 yards and no touchdowns. I don't know if Luke's trying to say something or.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. But anyways, we'll see how McCarthy plays this week. But I'd be surprised if Cade wasn't the quarterback, and he very well should be the quarterback, but we'll see.
Yeah, I think we both know which way this is going. If Cade was the quarterback, he would have been the quarterback from day one. And that's not how it's gone. Overall, I thought the performance was fine. No major red flags. You could say offensive line, but that was Colorado State's stronger unit last year was their defensive line. So I'm not concerned about Michigan's offensive line. One thing that might be a little bit concerning, it won't be in the first 11 games of the year, but I don't know if Michigan has that bruiser type running back.
Yeah, you're right.
That Hassan Haskins was last year. Corum, he's fast. Edwards, he's shifty, he's fast, but they don't have that guy. Might be a little bit concerning, but nothing else really concerns me. Cade should probably be the quarterback, but he's not going to be. I think we both know that. If he was, like I said, if he was going to be the quarterback, Harbaugh would have just named him. Harbaugh is he's narcissistic. And he's an asshole and he's a douchebag, and that's why he wants Cade to stay in the program, because
I still
he wants to burn
think that
his ability to transfer.
maybe they will give it to McCarthy, but I still think this is a stunt to have McCarthy not transfer.
No, it's one or the other. It's going to be McCarthy. We don't want Cade to leave, or it's the other way around. Cade's going to be the starter all the way. But I think McCarthy would transfer. I don't think it mattered. If he named Cade the starter, I think McCarthy's gone. I don't think he's going to stay, and he shouldn't stay.
Well, there's a better chance of Cade sticking around than McCarthy for sure. And Cade,
Wants to start McCarthy. He's doing
All right.
and I also would say that Cade, if JJ's a starter, Cade's not going to transfer it until the end of the season if he does.
I don't know. Did you see that comment in the post game?
Well, he's a captain. He's not going to abandon the team.
I don't know. I've seen it happen before. Listen, I wouldn't blame him either. If how many years? He's got 2 years left. Has he used his red shirt yet? I guess it doesn't matter because of the COVID year. So listen, he could, after 4 games, he could say, "I'm out. See you later." And I don't think anybody would blame him. It's not about being a team guy. If he got benched and he's a captain, the other captains would say, "Oh, you got stabbed in the back."
Yeah, well, that's what's going to happen. There's
leave.
going to be a major uproar in the Michigan locker room if he doesn't win the job.
Yeah, I told you, this is the Real Housewives of Ann Arbor.
Yep.
It's great.
Not great.
It is great. It's great for me. All right, Michigan State getting a big rivalry win over a tough Western Michigan team. So reactions from this game.
It was a game they had to have. They won. There's not much more to say about it other than that. A win's a win.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't watch the game. I don't really care about the game. But, Michigan State's defense is pretty bad. And Peyton Thorne's pretty bad. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, defense played really well.
You can't give up 330 yards to Western Michigan.
They had, what was it? Their quarterback had like 5 yards per attempt, which is pretty bad. And they had a few chunk plays. Defense, I thought, was fine. Obviously Darius Snow is our best defensive player. Him going out for the year is going to be tough because he was something we sorely missed last year. He was a defensive back last year, but we moved him to the linebacker, and it was a perfect fit because he could go out in pass coverage and he could come down and hit and be a traditional linebacker. He's gone. I got to apologize to my guy BVS, Ben Van Summeren, who's one of the best players on our team. Apparently, he had a tremendous game. He went from being a 5th or 6th string linebacker last year to now he's going to be starting for us. As you know, the Michigan transfer guy who was terrible last year, and all of a sudden he's good. I don't know how that happened. But I thought our secondary played pretty well. I thought they didn't even look the way of Amir Speed. I think he's going to be a stud at corner. And, Ronald Williams, I don't know what's happening with him. It looks like he might be injured, but Brantley played fine on the other side. Michigan fans know Charles Brantley pretty well. Offensively, I thought the play calling was pretty stupid from Jay Johnson. I feel like the running game was going pretty well in the first half. We got away from it, and Thorne was a little high on his throws. But he still threw the deep ball pretty well. And speaking of throwing the deep ball, I think this is by far the deepest set of receivers that Michigan State has had in probably since the Nick Saban era.
And it still doesn't come close to the receiving core of Michigan.
Yeah, that is just completely false.
No.
Jaden Reed is better than every receiver in Michigan. Keon Coleman is better than every Michigan.
Keon Coleman.
Did you watch Keon Coleman? 4 receptions, 84 yards
against Western Michigan
for a touchdown.
We have like 5 receivers that would start on your team.
That is just not true. That's not true. Michigan's receiving core is not that good at all.
That is 100% true.
You've one good receiver, maybe two.
That is 100% true.
Who's your best receiver?
Probably Ronnie
Bell?
Bell.
A low 2-star recruit. Get out of here.
Ronnie Bell would start on your team. Let's see.
No,
Who else would?
he would be the only one that would.
Roman Wilson would start on your team.
Okay.
Cornelius
We're off the
Johnson would
fucking
start
rails.
on your
We are
team.
off the rail.
Andrell Anthony would start on your team.
No, he wouldn't.
All right, 4. We have 4 receivers, and we have 2 good tight ends.
You're just an idiot if you think that.
That's the case. That they would.
Michigan State has a better tight end core also, by the way,
Oh,
but
bull,
we don't
yeah.
need to talk about
Give me a
that.
break.
I don't know if you saw Daniel Parker's touchdown catch, but that was just off the rails. That was off the charts good. But yeah, this receiving core, I mean, we can go 5 or 6 deep there, and I think our top 4 are studs, absolute studs. With Jeremy Bernard, I mean, if he's your 4th receiver, you're doing pretty well. Running game, I thought Berger was very good. I thought Broussard was very good. I'm happy with that. We don't have to go any deeper than 2. Please don't. I don't want to see Harold Joyner in the game at all. That'd be great. I don't need to see Simmons in the game. Although I like Simmons, he did some good things for us, but we don't need him in the game. So I think overall, you know, it wasn't an amazing performance. It could have been much better, but you know, as you know, Mel Tucker said in his press conference, he said it was an unacceptable performance. The standard is higher now at Michigan State. The standard is to go 12-0, and if you don't go 12-0, it's a disappointing season. It's as simple as that. Michigan State right now, it's not just talent level.
Well, Chris, according to Mike,
got to have good depth.
According to Mike, everybody goes 12-0.
Yeah, that's right.
Right. Okay. It's going to be before I make any real conclusions on this football team, I got to see him go out on the West Coast that night and get a win in Seattle against one of my all-time most hated players in Michael Penix, who he's played Michigan State twice. He probably has 3 incompletions against us in 2 games. So we're defense is going to be tested big time against him. But yeah, overall, I'm decently happy. Thorne's got to play better. But yeah, nothing else I have to say. Michigan State, I don't know if they exceeded expectations, probably right where I thought they'd be. I thought this team could be explosive coming into the year. And defensively, I thought they'd be better. Oh, I forgot to mention Jacoby Winmon. He's already a better player than Aiden Hutchinson ever was.
Here we go.
Aiden Hutchinson blew. He was the most overrated player in college football, but Jacoby Winmon's already better, and the pass rush is already better. So Michigan State building the foundation for 4 or 5 years in the future. So it's looking pretty good. All right, so let's go to the Big Ten scoreboard here from week 1. Guess we'll start on Thursday with Penn State getting that they stole that win in West Lafayette over Purdue. And then if you want to talk about this Minnesota win against Mexico State, go ahead. But we'll start with Thursday.
All right. Yeah, good win for Penn State. I mean, Purdue just refusing to run the ball, run the clock out at the end of the game. Just a joke. Their offense is a complete joke. The fact that they never hand the ball off is awful. It is terrible to watch. It is going to cost them games like it did against Penn State. Aiden O'Connell is very overrated.
It's not that they don't want to. It's that they can't. I don't think Purdue's had a good offensive line ever.
Well, they should be able. They averaged 4 yards a carry. Not good. Not bad. As for Penn State,
are you trusting King Doru to run the ball?
Yeah, he's good. As for Penn State, they still can't run the ball. Sean Clifford was bad, but he had he came through at the end. I still don't trust Penn State at all. The quarterback plays bad. They can't run the ball. And, they got lucky that Jeff Brom blew the game.
Do you know who Sean Clifford is?
Who?
A bad quarterback?
He's Sam Ehlinger 2.0.
He's not as good as Sam Ehlinger was.
No, he's better. Sam Ehlinger was awful.
Actually, let me talk about Minnesota here.
Oh,
Great
here
win.
we go with some dumb take on Minnesota.
Great win. New Mexico State, a tough game for them, as they only threw the ball 12 times in a 38-0 loss. Very interesting how
See
few.
their quarterback? Their quarterback's a transfer from the New Mexico Military Academy. The guy can't even grip a football.
Yeah, this is pretty bad.
And Luke, did you see who New Mexico State's offensive coordinator is?
No.
Tim Beck.
Oh, Jesus Christ. He was great when he was at Ohio State.
I want to see the time of possession of this game, because New Mexico State ran like 30 plays. Yeah, 45-15 time of possession. And Minnesota's got a good chance to win the West. This is a big win.
They have a favorable schedule.
Yep, and they're proving Mike wrong.
This Purdue game I can't get over. I don't hate being aggressive late in the game. I don't hate them throwing the ball over the place, but you at least have to run the ball twice and make them call the 2 timeouts. And it was just brutal to watch.
I don't know. Jeff Brom's done this he does this every game. Every game, whenever Purdue's up, and I don't know if he doesn't learn. It worked against Oregon State last year. Listen, I'm not going to get too mad at Jeff Brom, because, I mean, he was going to do that no matter what.
He's going to be fired by the end of the year.
There's nothing anybody can say that's going to change that. No, I don't think so. Obviously, it was a really disappointing loss, and really a win Penn State had to have. And I think Purdue was slightly the better team, but it didn't really matter. I mean, 98 rushing yards for Penn State. That is unacceptable. That is unacceptable. Purdue just lost their best defensive player, a guy who not only was great against the passer, when he was great passer, but he was also good against the run. You couldn't run against that. Average 3.1 yards per carry. That's really bad. Just not a good sign for Penn State. And I'm worried about Penn State. I am. I think this might be more of the same. Not that they're going to go 7-6. They were the best 7-6 team of all time last year, but 8-4, 9-3, and I think Penn State fans don't want to hear this, but 8-4, 9-3, it seems like it's going to be consistent over the next few years, just because of how they just can't develop an offensive line. It blows my mind that they can recruit so well and can't recruit offensive linemen. Or develop them. Maybe they are recruiting, they just can't develop them. It's embarrassing. All right, we'll go through a couple. Well, I guess we'll go over the rest of the games. Indiana, with a game they kind of stole from Illinois.
Listen, Indiana's got a tough schedule this year. After the bad year last year, this was a win they had to have.
Well, yeah, just do quick comments on each game. Chris, what do you think about this game?
Yeah, so far throughout the Big Ten season, this is the most embarrassing loss the team has suffered, even worse than Nebraska losing week 1. This Illinois loss to Indiana. They had the game, and Indiana is really bad, and it's awful. That's a terrible loss.
Yeah, that wasn't good. That was Illinois' game to lose, and they found a way to lose. They got kind of screwed, but you got to overcome that. And for Tom Allen, it's one of the only winnable games you have, so you had to win it. Rutgers 22, BC 21. How about this game?
Yeah, BC. This was a choke job by BC. It's a great win for Rutgers. Once again, another team who's in the East, has a tough schedule. Win these. If you want to make a bowl, you have to win your non-conference games, and you have to win your cross conference games. So good step for Rutgers.
Good job by Rutgers overcoming some injuries in this game too. As for BC, I mean, Jurkovec was terrible. Their offensive line and their defensive line are both awful.
Hafley's got to be on the hot seat.
Yes, the last drive was a joke. They ran the ball every single play, and BC didn't even come close to stopping it. So they have problems of their own, but good win for Rutgers.
Little did we know that it was Steve Adazio's players that Hafley was winning with, and once he got his own guys, it all went to crap. Yeah, that was not a good loss for BC at all. A game they they were really in control of for most of the game. That was just an embarrassing loss. I picked Rutgers to win the game, but it was a game BC should have won, and Rutgers has no quarterback at all. I mean, just a mess at quarterback. Obviously, they're hopefully they're going to get Noah Vedral, one of the best quarterbacks in the Big Ten, back pretty soon. But yeah, I mean that was a classic Schiano coaching job right there. What a win for Rutgers. We'll put these games together. They're both all these games are kind of just blowouts. Maryland over Buffalo. You got Nebraska, very close at one point, but they pulled away from North Dakota. Wisconsin beating Illinois State. So reactions from these three games, if any.
They don't mean much, but they don't mean much as long as you win. That's all it is. They don't mean much as long as you win. They all took care of business. So
Yeah, Nebraska sucks.
I don't know. Did you guys see this? But Scott Frost took the play calling away from Mark Whipple in the second half. Did you see that?
no.
He called the plays for the rest of the game. That's obviously not a good sign. Looks like Whipple might be gone.
Well, I also
nice.
saw. Did you also see the stat that like Scott Frost could win his next 50 games and he still wouldn't have as good of a win-loss record as Bo Pelini did at Nebraska?
Yeah. Bo Pelini was a terrific coach. They should not have gotten rid of him.
Yeah, because the defense did wonders down at LSU.
Yeah. Maryland's Tua is the same quarterback he's always been. I don't think they're much of a threat. Nebraska, yeah, whatever. Wisconsin doing Wisconsin things. All right. Final game. I know we've all been waiting for this one. How about Iowa with two safeties winning 7-3? I know many people were mad that they didn't win 5-3 because that would have been funnier, but 7-3 with two safeties. Reactions from this game.
Listen, a win's a win for Iowa. This is classic Iowa football. They've been doing this for years. I just feel bad for the fans because they can't take the play calling sheet out of, was it Brian Ferentz? Is that his name?
Brian Ferentz.
Yeah, Brian Ferentz will never not be the OC as long as Ferentz is there. So feel bad on that sense. But you see the stat where there's been like 9 or 10 games where teams won without scoring a touchdown in the last like decade or something like that, and Iowa's 8 of the 10 or something like that. So yeah, good win.
Yeah, this is like the Patriots, a family business with Steve Belichick and Brian.
Well, the Patriots have a Ferentz too.
Oh yes. So Iowa's offensive line is terrible. They couldn't run the ball at all. Spencer Petras is the worst quarterback in the Big Ten. It's just a terrible showing all around. Their defense looked fine.
Chris, I thought Petras was your guy.
Yeah, I'm off Petras.
What does your roommate have to say about Petras?
He's also off Petras. But South Dakota State, they're an FCS team, and Iowa's defense looked good. I don't know how much you can take from that, but just a putrid performance.
Jesus, how about this stat? Since 2000, FBS teams that average less than 2.8 yards per play and scored 0 touchdowns have gone 3-371. Iowa has 2 of the 3 wins.
I didn't listen. I didn't know this game was possible. I didn't know I could watch a game that made the Red Box Bowl look like a track meet.
Well, Petras had a 1.1 QBR.
Yeah, that wasn't great. I mean, this is what you come out with after a summer of listen, Iowa's offense was a mess basically the entirety of last year also. They didn't use the transfer portal. And then not only did they not use the transfer portal, they lost their 2 best receivers to Purdue of all teams. And by the way, Charlie Jones played unbelievably well in his first game at Purdue. I bet you he's not mad that he transferred. Man, it's a complete disgrace. And if I'm an Iowa fan, I'm pissed, but I also don't feel bad for Iowa fans because they've been content with Kirk Ferentz for this many years. And
well, he's done them good.
Generally.
Until he hired his son to be the play caller.
I mean, it's just that's bad. They have not changed a thing on offense. It's not even they haven't changed a thing on offense. That's fine. You could run that offense if you had a decent offensive line. How is Iowa's offensive line so bad? Iowa's the team that produces NFL offensive linemen, probably the second most in the Big Ten behind Wisconsin. And your offensive line is they're terrible. They were absolutely terrible. And then not to mention Petrus he's not even a high school level quarterback. With the throws he was missing, just off the chart. He airmailed so many throws. He made Peyton Thorne look like Joe Montana. Peyton Thorne was missing throws. That is not a great win. But listen, their defense is good. I tell you, Phil Parker should go up to Kirk Ferentz and he should request the offensive coordinator job because he scored more points than Iowa's offense did. So he's one of the best coordinators in college football. And another thing I saw was ever since the great Chris Doyle got fired, Iowa just hasn't been the same. They haven't been able to get these guys in the weight room, get them physical, especially the offensive line. And also, Chris, you'll love this. Brian Ferentz was promoted to quarterbacks coach in the offseason. Oh my man, it's really paying dividends after one game. By the way, he had never coached quarterbacks ever in his life. You could hire a Madden player; they'd probably be more qualified to teach quarterback play. All right, enough of that. Iowa will still beat Iowa State. I'm sure we all know that.
Yeah, it happens every year, and it pisses me off every year.
Yeah. All right. Let's go to some notable games. Reactions from Oregon, Georgia, Cincinnati, Arkansas, and Utah, Florida.
I think quick on the Utah, Florida. I just think Utah was a little overrated coming to the season, and Florida was a little underrated coming to the season, mainly because no one knew what they were going to get out of Florida. So I don't take much out of that game. Plus, it was the first game of the year at Florida. I think Utah's still a good team. It probably cost them a chance to have a spot in the playoff, but they could win out and they'd have a spot. So
No, they wouldn't.
still have a chance. Yes, they would. And
No,
then
they wouldn't.
the Oregon Georgia game. I think we all expected Georgia to beat Oregon pretty bad, but I mean, I don't think anybody expected it to be that bad. Oregon couldn't move the ball. Bo Picks was awful, and I couldn't believe. I knew they were going to beat them bad. I just couldn't believe how bad they beat them. Georgia probably looks like the best team in the country after last week. And what was the other game?
Utah, Florida. Did you talk about that?
Cincinnati, Arkansas.
Cincinnati,
Arkansas. Oh, I said this to Mike earlier in the week after that game. I feel bad for Cincinnati because they could have won that game. They had their chances, but I also just think it was they didn't match up well against Arkansas. Cincinnati's calling card this year is going to be their secondary, and Arkansas is just a team that loves to run the ball and pound the ball. So I don't think Cincinnati just doesn't have enough defensive linemen and linebackers to rotate through to stop that. And I mean, they definitely had their chances to win that game, but I just feel like it was a tough matchup for them, but a good win for Arkansas.
And no surprises from the Arkansas game. Good win for Georgia. I just don't know where Oregon's going to be this season. Bo Nix, though, is terrible. He peaked a couple of years ago. But yeah, I mean, it's the first game of the season. It's tough to tell. They have a first-year head coach. But yeah, Georgia will be good. We'll see what happens when they play some of these SEC teams to see if they can replace some of that talent from last year. But yeah, this Florida game, I was way off on this game. I will give Florida some credit. They were ready to play. Anthony Richardson is one of the best quarterbacks in the country.
And who said that before the season? I said that.
I agreed with that. I just didn't think they're that good.
Wait, did you see what Ferentz? Did you see what Ferentz said against about Petrus after the game? He said, "quote
What?
I thought he did a lot of good things." I don't know how you can do a lot of good things when you have a 1.1 QBR, but
because he does a great job handing the ball off. He doesn't fumble the snap.
Yeah, so good win for Florida at home. If they beat Kentucky this week, I will admit that I was wrong about Florida. They have to do that though.
They will easily.
As for Utah, I still like them to win the Pac-12, but they are completely done and out of the playoff conversation because they don't play a single good team the rest of their season.
No, they're not. No, they're not.
They are.
If they run the table and beat USC twice and they're Pac-12 champs, they'll be in the playoff.
No, they won't. 11-1 Michigan would be in over them.
No, they wouldn't.
Yes,
No, they wouldn't.
11-1 Michigan would not get over.
With a loss to Ohio State,
Yes,
would
they
not
would.
be in over.
No,
No,
they
they wouldn't. They wouldn't have any good wins.
Doesn't matter.
Really?
Utah has no good wins.
Yeah,
They beat USC twice.
Well, Michigan State's better than
And they'll
USC.
have 2 more top 25 wins just by the fact that Pac-12 so bad. 2 of their teams are going to get in the top 10,
Michigan State's not a
top
good team.
25.
Michigan State is better than USC.
No.
Utah's done, but they will still win the Pac-12.
I agree with they're most likely done. It would take.
So I think they're most likely done too. But I mean, if they, the fact that they could still win out and they'd be in means that they're not done.
They wouldn't
I don't
be.
think they will, but they would be in.
No, the Pac-12 is done. The Pac-12, nobody respects the Pac-12. They're big.
Oh, I agree with you.
They shouldn't be respected. It's a joke of a
They'd be
conference.
12-1. They'd be 12-1 conference champs. No,
That's
12-1
not good enough.
conference champ has ever not gone in.
That's not good enough to get in, unless some things
Listen.
happen.
I don't want to knock Utah because if I was an athletic director, if I was, what's his name? Who's not Bronco Mendenhall? Who's the coach at Utah?
Kyle
Why
Whittingham.
would-
Kyle Whittingham.
Whittingham. I don't Bronco Mendenhall. Kyle Whittingham. I don't schedule this game. There is no point to schedule a game like this if you're a team like Utah.
Well, they
There's
got
just
paid
no
to
point.
play.
You everybody should just do what Michigan does. Obviously, maybe if you're in the Pac-12, you might need a game. You might need BYU or something, a game like that. But I mean, it's going to be perceived that Utah is going to be done just because of this loss. And if they played an FCS team instead, they would be top 10, probably top 7. They'd be right where they were last week, and no one would bat an eye. But they scheduled a tough opponent. They lost and they got punished, which I don't necessarily agree with. I didn't move Utah down at all. I thought they played exactly the game I was expecting. I think Florida.
They still should have won the game. That was one of the dumbest interceptions in college
Yeah,
football.
that was
history.
bad. I honestly, I haven't seen anybody talk about that either, about how
Yeah.
bad that interception was at the end. But yeah, Florida's talented, especially their 1 through 22, very talented. And Utah played a fine game, and they probably should have won. And if they won, then Utah would be in the top 5 right now. But they lost. But because of that interception, they dropped 12 spots, which is ridiculous. That just shows you how the AP voters are idiots. But
Well, that's true. We always knew that's been true.
it is what it is. I don't take a whole lot out of the Cincinnati Arkansas game. I know a lot of people, not a lot of people, some people are expecting Arkansas to blow them out, but I think this game just shows that Luke Fickell has built something consistent, something that he can. There's no reloading.
Well, I also don't think Arkansas is built to win blowouts.
That's true. I thought it was obviously Cincinnati had a lot of success going deep. I think Arkansas has got some problems in the secondary, and they could have exploited it better than they did. And I think their quarterback, he's decent, but he wasn't able.
It's also his first start, isn't it? Unless it's a transfer.
Well, he was at Cincinnati behind Ritter, and then he transferred to East Michigan and played a whole season. Then he transferred back. So Fickell basically put him out on loan last year.
Yeah, they should allow that more.
Yeah, I thought he played really well besides the first half where he just missed a couple throws. But Arkansas, you can't be mad over that win. That was Cincinnati's a good team. I don't think Cincinnati's going to lose another game. To be honest with you, they might slip up, but they'll be favored in every game. So, and I'm just not overly surprised. It kind of reminded me of the Michigan State Ohio State game. I don't think the difference is 46 points or whatever the final score was, but It's just that sometimes when you get down early, things tend to snowball, and I think that's what happens. And it just happens. I think it's going to be really tough for Oregon to get back off the mat, though. I really wonder about their ability. Not this week, but next week when they got BYU coming in. I would favor BYU in that game right now. So, all right, pick a game from last week.
Yeah, how about Mississippi State last week? Big win for Mississippi State. They're still on track to win the SEC and win the national championship. Memphis is a good team. They beat them 49-23, and my guy Heisman front runner Will Rogers threw for 450 yards and 5 TDs. So stat padded against the teams you need stat pad against to win the Heisman. Is on pace.
Yeah, I mean, I'd just like to take this time to apologize for one of my picks last week. I did pick Maine to beat New Mexico last week, and they got absolutely throttled by New Mexico, 41-0. Just a tough game all around. And I just want to apologize to our viewers for that pick.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
All right. I think you know where I'm
Also,
going
actually, I have one more thing to say. What a shameful performance by Louisville against Syracuse.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that was really bad. You know, Louisville's bringing in this great recruiting class. I wonder if
Mike was saying that they were going to pound them. Louisville was going to pound Syracuse.
That's what I was expecting. And that's not what happened. So yeah, I think you know where I'm going with this one. Obviously, I could talk about Florida State, talk about how they almost choked in almost typical Florida State fashion. But no, I'm going to go out west. I'm going to go to the sold out Research Stadium in Corvallis, Oregon.
Why was it sold out, Mike?
It was sold out. It was packed. Not a seat was open.
Why was it sold out?
Just was. Now
sold out, not because they're doing construction and have the stadium was closed.
Yeah, listen, we don't talk about that. We don't
listen. Well, Mike, here's the thing: they sold out because they would have. The other half was open. Maybe they would have sold more tickets for it. I don't know.
Yeah. And did you see the Oregon game is already sold out? That's good. That's good. But yeah, this was a big win for Oregon State. This is a kind of similar thing to Cincinnati. Obviously, Cincinnati lost, but Oregon State proving that they can develop and proving that they don't need to rebuild. This was a big time win. Obviously, I think Boise's kind of not good, but they're still a well above average Group of 5 team. And to do what they did against that Boise team was pretty impressive. That was a overall very good win. Running the ball pretty well, throwing the ball pretty well. And defense I thought was pretty good also. And it looks like Bachmeier might be done at Boise State. Got benched in the first half. And the Green kid came in. He was pretty decent for Boise, but it didn't really matter. But that was a big win. Jonathan Smith, Oregon State will be in the college football playoff sometime in the next 10 years. I guarantee you.
Well, once they expand to 12, they might have an outside shot at it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. All right. Let's go to the pick section, and we're going to have you guys, I guess we haven't gone over it here, but just explain your double-digit underdog of the week.
Well, should I? Obviously, I don't think any of us won our bet from last week, but hey,
nope.
That's why they're double-digit underdogs. They're not expected to win. There were a couple I was looking at. I'm trying to figure out value for pick. I was looking at Appalachian State, 18.5 underdog, 8-point underdogs against 18.5-point underdogs against A&M, which I thought was a little tempting. How about Colorado being 17.5-point underdogs against Air Force? I'm not even thinking about picking them, but I just find that funny.
It's just me sidetracking, but looking at Colorado's schedule, I'm not sure they win a game. Have you seen Colorado's schedule?
Nope, but Midnight Mel.
No, Midnight Mel. They play Minnesota on the road next week. So if they don't win this game,
is
They're not going to beat Minnesota, and then they got
They might
the
beat
entire
Arizona.
Pac-12 play. They're not going to beat Arizona. They're not going to beat Arizona State. I guess Arizona
Maybe
State
Cal.
might be their own chance.
Arizona, Cal.
They're not going to beat Cal.
That's about
They're
it.
not. I don't think they have a chance to win a game. They might not win a game this year if they don't win this game.
Midnight Mel, Chris, leaving that program in
Yep.
ruins.
He's gonna do it to Michigan State pretty soon.
Chris, remember when Durrell went like 5-3 in the COVID season, and there you were saying how great he was?
Well, listen, that was a COVID year. My opinion can change.
Listen, we all
actually-
know how messed up the COVID season was when Spencer Petras was a good quarterback back then.
Actually, Mike, he still is a good coach, but Mel Tucker left him in such shambles that program.
Are you kidding me? Give me a break. We just took his best running back. That's what happened.
The other games I was looking at, I mean, obviously you could get some value out of Hawaii plus 51 or Arkansas State plus 46.5.
Where they play?
But Ohio State. It's 43.5. My bad. And obviously, I think Alabama. I think Texas plus 20 would be under the light. Not really under lights. I guess it's in the middle of the day.
It's at noon.
Yeah, but it's just a saying. Big game. You're under the lights. So big game.
At 11 a.m. local kickoff.
Yeah, big game. It's gonna be 100 degrees. Who knows what could happen in that game? I think Texas does have a chance. But I'm gonna go with where is it? I'm gonna go with Vanderbilt plus 13.
Are you
points against
kidding
Wake
me?
Forest.
I
That's
picked
still
the
your
same
game?
one.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't think that matters. But yeah, I'm going with Vanderbilt plus 13 against Wake Forest.
Did you see Hartman's back?
Yeah, but I don't think he's playing. He's on the sideline for this game. But this Griffiths kid played well for them.
Yeah. So,
All right,
Chris,
I'm
same
also
picks?
taking that game. Wake Forest is going to run into some SEC athletes here at Vanderbilt, and and the crowd's going to be going nuts this game.
Yeah, maybe Vanderbilt might think they have a home game since all the crowd will be gold.
crowd. I don't think there's going to be a
But it'll
single
be
person
gold.
at that game. Wake doesn't have any fans. Luke's going to love my pick. I got Arizona plus 11 against Mississippi State.
Oh, that's ridiculous. Why do you like Arizona? They stink.
Arizona with one of the most impressive week ones of the season with their win at San Diego State. Not only did they beat San Diego State, they dominated.
I thought you were going to say, when you first said Arizona, I thought you were going to say Arizona State over Oklahoma State because that game's also 11 points.
No. Here's the thing. I think I kind of like what Jet Fish is building in Arizona. I think they're recruiting very well, and I think they got Jaden DeLora. They got a bunch of transfers. I really like Jaden DeLora. I think he was underrated at Washington State. I think he's a pretty good quarterback, and I don't know. I don't think they're going to beat Mississippi State, but you never know. I think it's a good bet. I think Arizona. They played really well last week. I think they're riding off a high. I think they could pull off the upset against Mississippi State, and that wouldn't be good for the SEC.
Well, it's not going to happen, so.
Fair enough. Okay, we'll start the picks. Friday night, Louisville at UCF, two great teams.
Hold on. What's the line?
I'm not sure.
Well, that's not ideal, but
UCF minus 6.5.
yeah, I'll take UCF.
UCF, they're one of the best teams in the country.
Yeah, I'm not going to get burned with Louisville again. I'm taking UCF. Another game. I don't know. This is Saturday. Okay, UTSA at Army.
I'll take UTSA.
I'm gonna take UTSA. They'll bounce back from last week.
I'm going to take Army reluctantly.
Oh, how about LSU losing because their field goal missed the extra point?
Yep.
And then do you see Brian Kelly's press conference today?
Yes.
Yeah, yes.
Where the
that was-
reporter
that was
walked
fine.
in late and he said, I'll have to sign you $10. And she said, I'll be on time if you win or something like that. Or maybe if you win, I'll be on time.
All right, this is another really weird game. North Carolina for the second straight week going on the road to a G5 team. They go to Georgia State.
I'll take UNC.
North Carolina.
Georgia State, the line was decently close against South Carolina last week. They ended up losing by double digits, but yeah. North Carolina is going to win it probably 48-43. Arkansas State and Ohio State.
I'll take Ohio State.
Ohio State.
Ohio State. Butch Jones is going to have their team ready, though. That's for sure. South Carolina and Arkansas.
This is a sneaky upset. I think South Carolina could give them some fits, but I'll take Arkansas. Bad
Arkansas.
Arkansas. So
Yeah, I didn't love what I saw from Spencer Rattler.
Rattler. I don't think he's very good.
I was going to say Spencer Sanders. But because I think Arkansas has got some holes that he can exploit in the secondary. So that's why I'm a little concerned, but I think Arkansas pulls it out. Missouri at Kansas State.
I'll take Kansas State.
I'm taking Missouri. This game is going to be really close at the end, and Adrian Martinez is going to choke.
Is this technically a rivalry game?
I don't know. Maybe. I'm going to go with Kansas State. I think they're better. I'm worried about Drinkwitz's job, to be honest with you. I know he's done okay there, but it's just a really tough job. All right, the game of the week with Devin Gardner on the call. We got Duke at Northwestern.
I'll take Northwestern.
Northwestern.
Northwestern, but I think it's going to be these two teams played a home and home a couple of years ago, and Duke won both games. And this was the year that one of the years Northwestern made the Big Ten title game. So Duke has Northwestern's number, but I think Northwestern will win. Alabama at Texas.
I'll take Alabama.
Alabama. Game's going to be over after the first 5 minutes.
I think the Heat could play a huge factor. I think that could help Texas.
It's nice and cool in Tuscaloosa.
No, I don't think it's as hot. And
Yeah, but
usually
it's
they're playing in the afternoon and at night. And they don't play at noon.
It's a dry heat. Okay, Wake Forest at Vandy.
I'll take Wake Forest.
Oh, give me a break.
What? I'm going to double down. I'm taking Vandy.
All right. I'm going to go Wake Forest. This is an interesting game. You can catch this game on Stadium. Maryland at Charlotte.
I'll take Maryland.
Maryland close.
I feel like this is one of those games where a Power 5 team goes on the road and loses. It just feels like one of those type of games. But I'm going to go with Maryland.
But you don't have the balls to pick Charlotte.
Yeah, I don't have the balls to pick Charlotte. I don't. Tennessee at Pittsburgh.
I'll take Tennessee.
Tennessee and a blowout.
It's going to be a lobotomy on the field. I'm taking Tennessee. Interesting game here. Washington State at Wisconsin.
I'm going to take Wisconsin. I think Washington State absolutely sucks. They looked so bad last week.
Wisconsin.
I'm not buying the Cam Ward hype.
The hype?
Yeah, there was some hype with Cam Ward. He was like the number 5 transfer last year, coming out of Incarnate Ward.
Washington State sucks. They're so bad.
Yeah, I think
They're back
Dicker's
to
on
what
the
they were
hot seat.
before
He's
Mike
coached 2
Leach.
games. He's on the hot seat. Colorado at Air Force.
This is a rivalry game.
Yep.
You gonna make a pick?
Yeah, I picked Air Force.
No. I'm also gonna take Air Force.
Yeah, Air Force. Colorado's not winning a game this year. Akron at Michigan State.
Michigan State.
Michigan State.
I want to pick the Flying Joe Moorheads, but I'll take MSU. This is a sneakier game. Virginia at Illinois.
What's the game?
Virginia at Illinois.
I'll take Virginia.
Yeah, I'll take Virginia.
Yeah, I'm high in Virginia this year. I'm taking Virginia. Iowa State at Iowa.
Iowa State, because I like what's his face, but they're gonna break my heart again. Somehow they're gonna let up 100 yards on defense and lose 14-13 and miss the game-winning field goal.
Yeah, I think I will win the game 3-2.
Is this the game of the week? In your
No,
eyes?
it's on BTN.
No, but in your eyes.
Let's see.
I mean, you have Alabama, Texas, but I don't think that's a great game when it comes
I
to
think
just.
I think the Kentucky Florida game and the Tennessee Pittsburgh game.
Not
I
a
don't
great
know.
game, but there are a lot of intriguing games, but there's not one huge game.
Baylor, BYU.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That is a good one. It's also at 10:30. It's probably not great for TV audiences, but I'm going to take Iowa. I just think, like I said last year on this podcast, I think the mental block is real with Iowa and Iowa State. I really do. I think Iowa State feels they just know they can't beat Iowa. It's just in their DNA. They know they can't win. Iowa's going to find a way to win. All right, Houston and Texas Tech.
Texas Tech is favored in this game, but I'll go with Houston.
Yeah, this is a tough one. I do think Houston will win barely.
Yeah, I really didn't like what I saw from Houston. I'm going to be honest
I
with you.
didn't either.
Obviously, it's a tough road environment
Not
in
really.
the Outlook Dome, but going on the road to Lubbock, it's going to be tougher. New coach, a lot of momentum. I think Texas. I don't. Texas Tech doesn't have a quarterback, but I think they'll find a way. I think they'll get it done. Texas Tech. Kentucky at Florida.
I will take Florida because they're at home.
Yeah, I'm gonna roll with Kentucky. I think they're just a better team. Florida being ranked number 12 is one of the most ridiculous things in the history of the AP poll.
Oh, this is a big letdown spot for Florida.
Well, did
here
you see
after a
where I
big
had
win last
Florida
week.
ranked?
No, what did you have them like 2?
I had them like 11 or 12,
Yeah, so exactly where the poll.
but
had it.
I barely moved them from last week.
Oh yeah, yeah. The fact that they jump from out of the rankings to 12 is just ridiculous.
That's how the early rankings work because they need an excuse to keep. They don't want their preseason rankings to be wrong, so they need an excuse to keep Utah in the rankings close to where they were.
Yeah, I'm rolling with Kentucky. They're better.
I'm relatively low in Kentucky this year. I'm relatively high in Florida. I think Florida will get it done. I just think they're better. Another intriguing game that's not really
Intriguing.
it's not really good, but it's intriguing. Arizona State at Oklahoma State.
Yeah, Oklahoma State
Oklahoma State.
in a massacre.
Yeah, listen, I didn't like how Oklahoma State finished the game, but that's garbage time. And as much as I trust what's his name? The Florida quarterback who's now the Arizona State quarterback. What's his name? Oh, what's his name?
Jones? Oh, Sanders.
Emory Jones?
Yeah, Emory Jones.
Emory Jones. As much as I trust Emory Jones.
Yeah. You trust him so much because he went 13 for 18 for 150.
Arizona State is just screwed. They're going to get killed. Oklahoma State. This might be the weakest Saturday Night Football of the year. USC at Stanford.
I'll take USC.
I think Stanford's going to win the game. USC is extremely overrated. I think Stanford wins at home.
You know, it is something I worry about with USC is those physical teams because the hardest thing to build is the trenches, and they just got killed by every team that could run the football last year, including Stanford, including Oregon State, including Utah. They just got killed in those games. But I think USC's skill talent will prevail. I think USC will win. Game of the week, Hawaii at Michigan with Lisa Byington on the game.
And Jake
Yeah.
Butt.
Jake Butt, yes.
Can I take if I pick Hawaii? Can I get the points with it?
No,
All right, then I'll just
unless
take
you want to make it one of your double digit.
No, I'll take Michigan then.
I'll take Michigan, but the game's going to be very close. Hawaii will definitely cover.
Oh, come on. You've been saying Michigan's going to lose for the past week.
Yeah, put your balls on the table.
If I didn't know how bad Hawaii was.
Well, the worst team in college football.
Yeah.
Yeah. BC at Virginia Tech.
You didn't pick the game, Mike.
Oh, my bad. I'm taking Michigan.
Oh, okay.
I already wrote it down. BC
I don't
at
know how
Virginia
to-
Tech.
Yeah, I don't know how to feel about this game because I think Virginia Tech is really bad, but BC was bad last week. I'll just go with BC. I think Virginia Tech is really bad.
BC is not going to get up off the mat after last week's game, and Virginia Tech's at home. I think Virginia Tech wins.
I agree with Luke. I think Virginia Tech's really bad. And I think BC's going to win. Baylor at BYU.
Oh God. Yeah, this is one of the games that feels just like a BYU win. They'll go 9-3, end up in around 15-25. So I'll go with BYU.
Yeah, I'm going to take BYU here as well. I was impressed with them last week.
Yeah, I like BYU. I'm high on them, but I'm also high on Baylor. I think this game comes at a good place for Baylor, going to Provo early in the year. I'm going to take Baylor. All right, Oregon State at Fresno State.
I'll take Oregon State. I was Mike. Yeah, I'll take Oregon. No, I'm gonna take Fresno State. Oregon State's coming off a big high. They're gonna have a letdown game.
I'll take Oregon State.
Very worried about this game. This is a classic CBS Sports Network game where a Pac-12 team goes into a Mountain West team and loses. But I have too much trust in Jonathan Smith. I think he's going to pull it out. I'm going to take Oregon State. And final game here, Mississippi State at Arizona.
Mississippi State by 100. Will Rogers will throw for 350 yards and 6 TDs.
Mississippi State.
You don't trust Don Brown's defense?
How about this
Considering
disrespect?
he's not there
How
anymore
about
now.
the disrespect
he's
that
He's at
the disrespect that
UMass.
ESPN
Remember?
ESPN
Oh,
doesn't have
that's
a
right.
ESPN doesn't have a picture for Will Rogers, and he wasn't even registering as a player during their last game.
No wonder why Arizona's defense was so good last week. I'm taking Arizona with the upset. All right, that's going to do it for this episode of the Big Four podcast. We will see you next week.